What's up, guys? Punchy here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're feeling blessed. Today I am bringing my Dragon Link profile that I took to the Philadelphia Regionals this past weekend. I managed to place 17th. If you watched the vlog, you know I got 17th place out of around almost 700 players. It was 10 rounds of Swiss, so it was a very long and grueling day of Yu-Gi-Oh, but we're playing the best deck, baby, so it was all worth it. It was fun. I'm just going to share with you guys I'm going to try to go as in-depth as I possibly can without being too redundant. If you know Dragon Links, then you know certain card choices and why I picked them. If you don't, again, like I said, I'm going to try to explain as best as I can why I had certain ratios and things like that. If you did watch the vlog, you know that I put DPE, the DPE package in this deck, and just because I felt like it kind of covered a lot of the weaknesses that the deck had. If you've seen our Goofy Gauntlet video, you know that I was doing very well at the beginning of the event and started teetering out a little bit towards the end. So that's what I adjusted my build on, was basically what I was having troubles with that day. And clearly it worked. So I'm gonna get into the deck profile. I'm gonna try to talk about as I go. I'm not gonna do like a whole match recap of all 10 rounds right now because that's just gonna be too much and I have a horrible memory. But as cards come up, I'll talk about how they performed throughout the day, how they, you know, kind of won me games, maybe they slowed me down, what I sided out, what I sided in. And we'll get to that when we get there. But without further ado, I'm gonna hop into this deck profile. So I'll start with the Rocket package. Many Dragon Link players know this is kind of the heart and soul of the deck. This is what gets a lot of plays going. Of course, 3 Tracer. I see a lot of people on 2 Tracer now. I don't think that's correct. The thing about this format is that to play Dragon Link effectively, for me, I know a lot of people can play Dragon Link a lot of different ways. Whatever way suits them is fine. However, for me, I play this deck very mid-range, and Tracer is a guaranteed level 8 synchro. So we never complain when we see this in our hand. There maybe like 2 games out of the day I opened a hand without a monster that I could summon. So anytime I see Tracer, I'm fine because I know I can normal summon Tracer, make Striker, add Boot Sector, pop itself, add Tracer back, and then make a level 8 synchro. Or even DPE at this point. So I really think that this card at 3 is correct. I've tested 2 and 3 just seems to be correct. It gets to the point where you like draw 2 Quick Launch and a Tracer, and then you have only 1 Tracer left in deck, and you're just kind of like, you have to manage like a little differently and like sequence your plays around 1 Tracer left, which kind of just feels weird. So we're definitely on the 3 Tracer. We're on 2 Synchron. I've tested this at 1, just played it 2. You want the 1 for combo and you want the 1 for follow-up. Again, it's a 1 card level 8 synchro, which is this deck, you know, it shines with those. And then we're on the 1 Recharger, of course. I don't think anybody disagrees with this. The 1 Recharger pretty much is standard at this point. And then the 1 Absorrouter. This card is, a lot of people are playing this at 2. And I don't think you need to play it at 2. If you see it in your opening hand, that's fine. I actually don't really enjoy seeing this in my opening hand, except for the Dragon Ravine discard. Just because, like I said, again, I'm playing this very mid-range, and my end board for every single game I played was I want to get to Seal's DPE as fast as I can with as much hand advantage as I still can maintain, while also maintaining graveyard resources. Because when you end your turn on Seal's DPE plus a hand trap or 2 plus Chaos Ruler in the grave for recursion on the next turn, you likely aren't losing that game unless your opponent has every answer they possibly need for dragons specifically. So we play the 1 Absorrouter. I really don't enjoy seeing it in my opening hand very often. So I like to send it off Ravine, or honestly, a lot of people were stopping Ravine on Saturday, and I was just summoning this off of Seals because you just go Seals, summon this, add back your Rocket Synchron from deck to hand when this leaves the field, and then you have a guaranteed level 8 synchro play on your following turn. So that's kind of the Rocket lineup. Then we'll go into the Chaos. We're on of course, the triple Safer. This and Chaos Space, essentially turn one, sorry. Turn one, Safer and Chaos Space tend to do the same thing, where they're grabbing you these guys, the black or the white, or they're grabbing you Levianeer, or every so often, if you're like going second, sometimes you'll add Tracer off of it. This card's got a lot more smaller interactions than Chaos Space does, but for the most part, you're going to be sending this to add your Chaos package, which is going to be the 1 black, 1 white, and the 1 Levianeer. Levianeer is one of the most powerful cards in this deck. Being able to rip a card out of your opponent's hand going first is just absolutely wild. A lot of times when this resolves, your opponent will scoop game 1 because they don't want you to see what they're playing, and they know that they can't. If they drop 2 hand traps on you and then you rip a third out with Levianeer, a lot of times they'll just go to the next game because they don't want you to see what they're playing. This card just overperforms. I've thought about playing this at 2. I can't find space for it yet, but for now, this card is just absolutely wild. So that's going to be it for the Chaos package. Then we'll go into some of we got the Black Metal Dragon. I play the 1. It plays through Droll. If you know your opponent's on Droll and you open this, you just will normal summon it immediately before doing any other searching. Normal summon it, make Striker. You go Black Metal Chainlink 1 to add your Red MD, and Striker Chainlink 2 to add your Boot Sector. It plays through Droll because you get 2 adds off of 1 summon, which is really nice because Droll really hurts this deck. So this is really nice. The only problem is that this card does not play through Lancia very well. So that's why I only play 1, because a lot of people are main decking Lancia over Droll. So if nobody was playing Lancia, I would probably test this at 2. But for now, 1's fine. I've even thought about cutting this card just because you really don't need it. Again, like I said, we're going for a very mid-range end board. We're going for Seals DPE, and a lot of times this can be overkill. It sets you up really nice for the next turn though. So I like the card. Am I going to keep it? Maybe. I might switch it out for Brotar. But for now, this is just, this card stays for sure. Red MD is just Red MD. But Black Metal has been, I've considered switching it out for something else. So that's that. So then we're going to move on to the extenders, level 7 extenders. I run 2 Noctovision. People play this at 3. Card can brick really fast when you open multiples. I don't want to open multiples. Like I said, mid-range is the way to play this deck at the moment, in my opinion. And the thing about this deck is I never want to top deck into something useless. I always want to top deck into pure advantage. Because your turn 1, you're setting up the Seals DPE. Your opponent has to break that, then get through your hand traps, and then they have to think about playing around all the cards you have in your grave in your hand. So like they're gonna know if you're gonna have the Black Dragon in your hand. They're gonna know you have Chaos Ruler in grave, plus Safer, plus Levianeer, plus DPE, plus Celestial Dasher to draw to. So we want to make sure that every card we're drawing for turn is just getting us somewhere immediately. And if you open multiples of this, you're not mad, but you're definitely not happy. You're really gonna wish it was something else. I think this card's perfect at 2. When I see it, I'm happy. When I don't, I'm just as satisfied. The deck plays through interruptions beautifully anyway. And so this card's really great because it plays through Ash twice. It plays through Ash for your Striker and your Romulus. But again, we don't want to brick on it. So I know a lot of people are on 2 Abso, 3 Nocto, but I just think that the 1 Abso and the 2 Nocto is perfect. We don't need to extend that far. We're not in a format where making unbreakable boards is the way to go. We're in a format where breaking your opponent's board and then keeping your resources to your advantage is kind of the way to go. So that's it for the Dragons. I don't play the Chamber package. I cut the Chamber package in favor of the DPE package. DPE just does what Chamber does, but better. It comes back every turn. It gives you a draw 2. It breaks boards faster. It breaks boards better. And it's a lot scarier to look down a DPE than it is to look at a set card that could be anything. And the best part about this deck is with all the spells that we play, you're often setting a bluff spell anyway just to make your opponent think that it's tidying. So then they have to think about playing around a tidying, even if they, don't add tidying, but like you set a card, they're gonna be like, oh, they have tidying in hand. So that's what's really nice about this deck, is that everyone plays chamber, so you can kind of just bluff your opponent really well with it. Then we're on hand traps. We run a lot of hand traps. I'm on 12. I'm on triple Ash, triple Ogre, the Gamma package, and Nib. I felt like these were the most impactful. Nib over Lancia, because I feel like unless you're playing against Fluandereeze, Lancia is just trading 1-for-1 in most scenarios in the main deck. So I just felt like Nib was a lot higher impact because you're playing 12 hand traps. This paired with anything else is FTK and Dragons. So if you draw Nib Ogre, Nib Ash, Nib Gamma, you're shining. So not only that, but this can even resolve without another hand trap. But at the worst case scenario, you're trading for the Griffin negate, you're trading for the Baron, you're trading for an Omni negate, so that basically you can just guarantee that you push for game on your turn 3. And then we're on the triple Ogre. This card put in so much work. I mean, going second, this card puts in more work than any other hand trap in your deck. And going first, if your opponent plays into Gamma, it's FTK. If you Chaos Space, send a card, and they Ash, and you go Gamma, you just win the game because you make a free Chaos Ruler. When you go normal summon Safer, send Safer for cost to add black or white, and they go Ash, again, you just play Gamma. Another cool thing is that if you draw, so we do side the Lancias. I played a game against Flunder player where game 2 he dropped Shifter, and I had Gamma Lancia. And so I Gamma'd the Shifter and on res activated Lancia. And if you don't know how that interaction works, basically these guys get banished during the end phase of the turn they're summoned. But if you Lancia after this, or even before it, they don't leave the field. So when you're going second and you make this and your opponent can't attack them and they don't get banished in the end phase, you draw for turn and you just like make a level 8 synchro as fast as you want. This card just is really good, and it pairs with Lancia very well, which again, like I said, will be in the side deck that I'll show. 3 Ogre, this is a 1 card Stop Brave. You just hit Fateful with this. You don't Ash anything along the way. Once they activate Fateful, you drop Ogre, and you do not have to worry about Brave for that game. It's really beautiful. This card trades 1-for-1 well with a lot of different engines. Again, like I said, it hits Brave. It hits field spells that have to activate after they've been activated already. The card's just really good. It's probably the best hand trap to draw for turn when you're going second. I know like drawing a hand trap going second for turn feels really bad, but this one's fine because like, you know, they put a big monster on board with a negate, you can bait it out and then Ogre to get the body off the field. So that's really nice. This card is just, it performed beautifully. This card never bricked, this card never did anything wrong. It was just perfect all day long. And then we are on the 3 Ash. I know a lot of people don't like Ash because it's not a light or dark target for Chaos Space or Chaos Ruler, but this card just is so generically powerful right now. It stops Fusion Destiny, it stops Brave. There's so many decks that are just adding that this card is just, you kind of just have to play it right now. So Ash did what it did, and I'm just going to keep playing it until the format calls for it not to be in the main deck anymore. And then the last 2 monsters are the Celestial and the Dasher. Like I said, the DPE package, it's really good. It overperformed. The thing about Dragons is that people do not expect DPE. So when you drop that Anaconda or you drop the Fusion Destiny, your opponent really is like, they'll drop 2 hand traps on you and then you just make DPE and they're like, wow, that really sucks for me. And Celestial, resolving Celestial and Dragons is absolutely busted because this deck has so many 1-card starters, 1-card advantage gainers, that when you've gone turn 1, gone through half your deck with your combo, and then you are left with only good cards left in your deck at that point, you've gotten all the bricks out. You've Gamma'd, so the driver's not there. You've Striker Dragon, so the boot sector's not there. You're only drawing into strong, powerful cards. So this card is just absolutely busted in this deck. So we'll go ahead and dive into the spells now. We play the 1 brick, the boot sector. It's not that this card is a brick, it's that it feels bad because part of your combo is getting this card, so you just could have drawn something else. It's not like drawing this is gonna lose you the game. It's just like, this could have been a safe rip, this could have been a hand trap, this could have been anything else. Dragon Ravine, this card's not as much of a brick in the way I play this deck. I'm actually not mad when I see this card because I oftentimes don't necessarily need to make Romulus to get my end board of Seals DPE. Dragon Ravine in my opening hand is fine. I really don't mind it. I know a lot of people hate it, but to be honest, opening this is perfectly fine. And it also is Ogre bait or Ash bait. If you start your turn, the thing about dragons is that you can bluff your bottlenecks really easily. So like if you start your turn, you activate Dragon Ravine and discard a card, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, he has nothing, and they Ash, and you're just like, yeah, sure, full combo now, which is really nice. Because it's not even incorrect to do that, because you're just gonna like discard a card, send Abso, add Tracer, or discard, send whatever. It's just, it helps get your plays going. If they let it go through, then you're even happier. We're on the triple quick launch. The card that everyone says is broken. The funny thing is, like, compared to like the rest of the format, this card is not even like that broken. Of course, yes. In a vacuum, this card is inherently very powerful. Quick effect, special summon a rocket from your deck. But I promise you this card is not the reason this deck is broken. This was probably my least drawn 3 of in the deck on Saturday, and I still plowed through the bracket, you know what I mean? Like, this card's very good, but it's not like people are like, oh my god, quick launch needs to be limited. No, it really doesn't. We're on the triple chaos space. This card is insane. Milling this off of Chaos Ruler, having it in your opening hand, whatever. This card is just absolutely wild. The draw one you get on top of your combo turn 1 is just absolutely insane. This card is the bread and butter of the deck. If you resolve this card, you are likely winning the game. If your opponent decides not to Ash this because they're scared of Gamma, you're winning the game. If you have the Gamma for the Ash, you're winning the game. This card is just absolutely busted. One of my favorite cards in the deck. Then we're on the 2 Fusion Destiny. Yeah, not much to say. It makes DPE. If you draw this in your opening hand in Dragons, you can end on Seals, Savage, and DPE, which is crazy, but again, you don't even need that. The one called by, it's Dragons. You want to stop the hand traps. And then the MVP of the day was the double Talents. Talents put in so much work. Every game I drew this and resolved it was just absolutely wild. If you get to the point in your playing where you can see past board state and look into the next turn and stuff like that, this is one of the most powerful cards in the game for players that can like think past what they just see on the board. Knowing what to do with this card is just absolutely bonkers. It just wins you the game. I played a game in round 10 where my opponent Scythe locked me and I had Talents in hand, and I Chaos Space, added black, and they drolled me. And if they didn't have droll, this card would have won me the game, because I stole Scythe, made a bunch of big bodies, and put them on 1,000 life points, and I put them on, you have to kill me here or else you lose. But if they hadn't drolled on top of the Scythe, this Talents would have won me the game. Every other game besides that one, this card resolving was game. My opponent had to scoop. They just couldn't. They can't keep up with the draw 2. If you Levianeer, rip a card out of your opponent's hand, and Talents rip a card out of your opponent's hand, it's game. They can't do anything. And everyone's on hand traps right now. Everyone's on like 8+ hand traps at the moment. So this card's never dead like it used to be. This card is always live, especially with DPE in the game. Going second, this card's even more powerful. With so many decks ending on Baron, this card's great. You bait out the Baron negate, and then you Talent steal it, and then you Baron pop a card. It's just so free. This card is so good. If you're on Dragons right now and you're not playing this card, I would strongly encourage you to test this card out again, because it's wild. That is it for the main deck. I'm on 45 cards. The deck felt super solid. It felt super consistent. There was only 1 or 2 games where I drew a hand that I couldn't like make a monster going first, but when that happens, you're drawing 2 to 3 hand traps, so your opponent's not playing the game anyway, and you're just winning off of blowing them out with hand traps. Nib, Ogre, Ash. So yeah, 45 cards. It felt super good. No chamber. I don't know. I don't have much to say other than this deck performed super well. So we'll go through the side deck now. There are a lot of cards I would change about the side deck. I will go over that as I go through it. But I'll tell you guys the powerhouses of the day. Triple Lancia. When this card is good, it wins the game if you draw it. Against Flu, this card just wins. There again, like I said, I didn't main it because I felt like unless you were playing against Flu on Reese, this card just trades kind of 1-for-1 with Brave. And it just, Ogre does the same thing. Nib does the same thing. So I preferred to play cards that were more impactful in a broad sense than trading 1-for-1. But yeah, decide this in against Flu. If you draw it, it's amazing. And I did play the Scythe and Double Sanctum. Didn't side it in once. I had it for going first. It just, dragons don't need it. It's useless. Don't play this. It's crap. I just didn't know really what else to play. The thing about dragons and this format in general is that like side deck cards, like your main deck has to be up to snuff or you're not winning anyway. So like your side deck is like as impactful as it is. You kind of have to have like the perfect cards in your side deck for them to be viable. I only needed like 8 cards in my side deck for the whole day. This completely useless. I will never play that again. The other useless card, Rivalry. I played this because I felt like look, on pen and paper, this card's really good because if you're playing against PK, it just kind of shuts them off of making any combos. And certain other matchups, like Brave. People will play Brave Pile and they'll summon a whole bunch of different types of monsters, but you just don't need this. It's just overkill. It's useless. Don't play it. And then, other than that, the good cards, Double Droll. I wish I played 3 of this in the side deck. This card's incredible. If you draw this card in the matchups it's good against, you win the game. Dragon Link Mirror, this card goes crazy. We are on Double Cyclone. You know what Double Cyclone's for. It's for Scythe Lock, it's for Eldlick, whatever. And the triple Crossout. Crossout went crazy when I drew it. I sided it in. So didn't matter if I was going first or second. A lot of the games I would end up siding in going first. I would side in triple Crossout and a Droll plus a Lancia. That way, if I'm going first and I'm comboing, I draw one of these. My opponent has one of the 2 best hand traps against dragons. You just cross out call Droll, cross out call Lancia, whatever. But even going second, I would still be playing the double cross out just because people are still siding in the Lancias even going first. They're still siding in the Drolls even going first. So this card just kind of does what it does. It's perfect. When you see it, it goes crazy. But again, dragons play through hand traps very well, so it's not even like you have to see this right now for your deck to perform. So yeah, the side deck was, you know, it didn't feel too impactful. It felt like this format, like the side deck isn't going crazy right now. But where it is, it does, again, Drolls, Lancia, Crossout, these were the MVPs of the day. So if I had to change it, I would definitely put in a 3rd Droll, I would put in a 3rd Cosmic, and I would take out the Rivalries and the Sanctums and Scythe, and I would probably play cards like Red Reboot, Duster, Pankratops, stuff like that. So we can get into the extra deck now. I will tell you right now, I summoned every card in my extra deck multiple times except for this one. This card was probably the most underwhelming card. I haven't made this card in weeks, to be honest with you guys. It's just not great. Like, this card is just so easy to play around. It's not powerful. It's probably one of the worst Link 2s you can go into in this deck. But so I would probably trade this out for the Scarlight, the one that burns in time. A lot of people are trying to burn me in time all day. I would probably trade this out for Scarlight or Boral Sword if I had to choose. But other than that, we have the 1 Striker Dragon. You already know it makes the boot sector. Pisty for black and white access past turn 1 if your opponent gets rid of your Striker Dragon. this card just helps you with your black and white plays. The one Romulus for the ravine access, the one quad boral for when you get nibbed. If you don't know, basically you set up seals, and once you need that to be like one of the first cards you make after Striker Dragon, so that when they nib you, you go, yeah, okay, seals effect, bring out Red MD, bring back Tracer, make quad boral, and then make either DPE or Borreload Savage depending on the matchup. Double seals. I didn't make a second seals at all on Saturday, but I like this card too much, and it feels like a security blanket that I have to play 2 anyway. I really don't think I'm going to cut this down to 1, just because it's such a powerful card. I might test it, but I feel like if I do, that'll be the day that I need the second. So for now, the 2 is fine. The IP is definitely what's getting cut first. The one Gloomy, this card goes crazy. If you make this against anything that makes DPE, you win the game. Especially since you're on DPE, having 2 DPEs on field is just goes crazy. You can only it's a hard once per turn DPE, but like having the body of DPE plus yours, and if you don't have your DPE in rotation yet, it really helps. The one Anaconda, you can use this card to bluff your opponent really easily in Dragon Link. You make Anaconda, they go Nib or Valor or something, and you just go, yeah, sure, Fusion Destiny. Or you just extend into like Boral Swords or Borreload Savage, something like that. The Nightmare Unicorn for the access code play. Most of your games are going to be just like any combo deck. Most games are won with access code. You just, once you make it, your opponent's like, yep, you got it. So that's the links. Then the Best Boy Chaos Ruler. This card just goes crazy. I used to be playing that I wouldn't make this turn 1. Now I do, solely for the fact that I know my end board is always going to be Seals DPE. So I am making this solely to add a hand trap to hand. I am making this so that I can mill either Ogre or Nib, just so I can add it to hand as an extra interruption before I pass my turn off. The one Borreload Savage. A lot of decks struggle with this card. When you equip it with the Romulus 3600, your opponent struggles to out it. Hot Red. I made this card a lot more on Saturday than I do often. This card won me the Dragon Link mirror. He ended on access code and didn't quite kill me because I Gamma stopped his last monster from coming out to swing for game. And then on my turn, I made Hot Red, negated his access code, and just beat him down. This card's crazy. A lot of decks struggle to get over this. So these are your 3 synchros. Everybody knows that. The best ones, again, considering adding the Scarlight over the IP just to burn in time. And then the 1 DPE, overperformed all day long. This card is crazy. I really like this card. I know a lot of people want to see it go. I think this card balances out the format pretty well, though, with the way people are playing. Everyone's playing Brave. Everyone's playing Scythelock. Everyone's playing all this crap. And this card just kind of is like, honestly, I think this card is like the saving grace in terms of like how this format is going, because it just kind of evens the playing field for a lot of decks. So I really like this card. But yeah, that's my Dragon Link profile. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching my deck profile. I was very excited to share it with you guys. Again, if you guys are playing Dragons, please don't be afraid to test out the DPE. It really seals the deal in a lot of games that you're going to be struggling with. If you guys want to see a test hand video / combo video, just let me know in the comments. I would be glad to do it. I didn't include it in the deck profile just because if you're a Dragon Link player, you're starting out, you know that every hand is going to take you somewhere different. So it would just be a massive video if we did them both in one. So if you guys do want to see a combo video or a test hand video, just let me know in the comments below, and I would be happy to share that with you guys. But other than that, guys, just make sure you're liking, subscribing if you're enjoying the content. God bless you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.